Beautiful. All right. Hello and welcome to the stream, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Leisure Llama, and today we are here with Don Jovi. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrency and face.
Don't ask. Just go with it.
Okay. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrency today. We're starting off this podcast a little bit later than I was expecting, but we had to work out a bunch of kinks and stuff. So we are going to be trying to do this regularly. We'll see how this goes, but we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. And so if you are watching on YouTube, feel free to give me a like and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to drop a follow. Every single follow helps out the channel, and every single subscribe. And we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency. So I know a little bit about cryptocurrency. Just for a little bit of background, I've been following crypto since 2017 when I initially got invested during that crazy bull run. So, and then I have been just trying to keep up with everything that's been going on ever since then. I know that a good number of people don't know a bunch about cryptocurrency. They've more recently heard about it, and so I wanted to be able to provide some information that I've learned about crypto to other people. And then Don Jovi, do you want to tell people a little bit about yourself and why you're here?
Yeah. So I'm Don Jovi. I don't really know much about crypto, which is why I'm here to tag along on this adventure. So I'm hoping to be the dummy that asks questions and, sparks good conversation for this podcast.
Awesome. So let's see. Before we just start getting into anything, wanted to see, are there any specific questions that you had and wanted to get answered first while we're here?
No.
And okay. And then, so if any questions come up while I am talking or saying something.
Got a writing utensil.
Okay, cool.
I'm already ready.
Just ask them and I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. So I guess we'll start off with some basic information and then we'll move, I guess, into more complex topics as time goes on, starting off with what is a cryptocurrency and blockchain and all of that stuff. Do you have an understanding of what that is?
Barely. So let's talk about it.
Okay. So if you break down a cryptocurrency into its sort of most fundamental pieces, essentially what it is it's a distributed ledger that has some sort of work mechanism or some sort of proof mechanism, I should say, that is built into the ledger to only allow for people to add new entries to the ledger, and then for a distributed set of people to verify the new entries and then sort of add new information on there. And so that new information is called blocks, and different cryptocurrencies sort of have grupperent sized blocks and different times, so how quickly the blocks come in or are written onto the ledger. But this ledger is called the blockchain, and it's just essentially a distributed database. The part that makes it unique is what the project or cryptocurrency does with that distributed database and how it handles updates to the network or the protocol. So the most prominent example of this would be Bitcoin. The way that Bitcoin operates is essentially you add a 1 megabyte block every single 10 minutes. And hi, Stacy. And you are seeing things because you have eyes. Eyes are able to see. So you can see Bitcoin adds a 1 megabyte block every single 10 minutes. And that block contains all of the transaction information. And the way that it keeps track of transactions is by recording unspent transactions. So it's called the UTXO model. So it's the unspent transaction model. And basically it keeps track of everybody that hasn't spent cryptocurrency, so it hasn't spent their Bitcoin, and when you do a transaction, it's basically adding a new unspent transaction onto the other person's wallet that you're sending the funds to, essentially. And there have been a number of groups and different things that have happened over time that have tried to basically make adjustments to this, and so you have different types of Bitcoin, essentially, which are like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Gold. And because Bitcoin is open source, essentially it means that you can create your own Bitcoin, but it's not going to be Bitcoin exactly. It's just going to be sort of like a copy of it, and then you can make adjustments to it, but it's not compatible with the already existing Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin Cash was created, they decided that they wanted larger blocks in order to fit more transactions, and that's what caused the split. So Bitcoin Cash has larger blocks. Bitcoin decided to go with SegWit, which was a process of basically trying to fit more transactions into a single block. And so Bitcoin as it exists hasn't really deviated from that 1 megabyte block every single 10 minutes. And so that is, and then the other aspect of this is proof of work. All right, Stacey, yeah, I'll answer your questions here in a sec, just so I don't lose my train of thought too much. The other aspect of this is proof of work. So what proof of work is it's a bunch of computers that are essentially working in order to try and figure out what the next block is. And it's based off of the inputs for what transactions are going into the block, and it's hashed using SHA-256, which is like a hashing algorithm. And so when your computer, whatever computer you might be using to sort of try and decide what the next block is, to figure out what the next block is, figures out what it is, then you're rewarded with 12.5 snap. Is it 12.5 or 6.25? I can't remember, but you're rewarded with a certain amount of new Bitcoin. And that new Bitcoin is newly created Bitcoin. It didn't exist before. And so everybody sort of competes with each other in order to try and figure out what the next block is based off of the inputs. And then once it's figured out, you get the block reward. So it creates an incentive to get the hardware, to get to pay for the electricity, and to do all of the things that you need to in order to basically figure out what the next block is.
Decentralized.
Right, exactly. And so proof of work is what verifies the ledger. So the more computational hardware that you have verifying the network, the better. And also, if you have somebody that wants to attack the network, then what they have to do is they have to have 51% of all of the computational ability of the network. So you have to somehow acquire 51% of all computer work, of all hash power. And then what that would allow you to do is to add your own entries to the ledger, even ones that are not technically acceptable. So at this point in time, that hasn't happened yet on Bitcoin, as far as I'm aware. And that hasn't happened yet. I'm relatively certain of it. And at this point in time, Bitcoin is so large that it would be exceptionally difficult and expensive for somebody to be able to do that. So that's what secures the network. So that's sort of the basics of Bitcoin. And then other cryptocurrencies have sort of added on to that or changed things or done different things. But for the most part, that's sort of the basics of it. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So Stacey.
Some of that I had a basic understanding of already.
Okay, good. So to answer your question, is now really a good time to buy more? And if so, which one? Bitcoin or Ethereum? Jovi told me to buy Bitcoin the other day. And should I also get Cardano? I do not have that. Okay, so one of the things that I really want to avoid with this is I really want to avoid price predictions, because people that make price predictions, I think, are not the most honest of the people. Usually people are trying to sell you something. They're trying to shill some sort of a project, or they're trying to get people to do something that benefits them. So I will not do any price predictions. So based off of that, I can't really provide you any advice either on when to buy or when not to buy, but I can tell you that a really common strategy that I think is pretty good is called dollar cost averaging. So you might want to consider that. And that's basically where you purchase a set amount every single month, or every single week, or every single day. And okay, so it looks like I'm answering your next question here. There's probably a delay though. You buy a set amount every single month, week, or day, or whatever time period you want to do. And no matter what the market does, you decide to purchase that amount at that time, consistently. And so over time, you're going to be stacking, we call it stacking sats. So you're just going to be stacking sats. Yes, only buy if you have available money, right? Hey, old man, welcome back. So we're actually doing the podcast. So yeah, here we are. Oh, I was just watching that actually, as well. It's very, very interesting. Yes, knowledge is power. Oh yeah, okay. You can see what I was doing. Actually, am I still watching that now? Well, let me make sure I'm not. Oh, I am. I want it to show me as being online, not watching CodeMiko. So yeah, so we're actually doing the podcast. I don't know if you missed it, but I just did a very brief description of what a cryptocurrency is essentially. And I went through the very, very bare bones basics of like what Bitcoin is. And then if Jovi didn't have any questions, I was just going to move on to Ethereum. Oh, and what about Cardano? Okay. So Cardano is essentially a smart contract platform where I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this. So it's a proof of stake smart contract platform. It was created by one of the people that created Ethereum, which is Charles Hoskinson. I'm probably just butchered his last name. And so what a smart contract is it's essentially code that you can execute in a distributed manner. That's basically that's sort of the root of it. In that you can set up a piece of software or a piece of code that can be run off of the blockchain or run off of the blockchain. We'll go with that. And so what that means is that you can set up a contract that is executed between two people with already defined parameters. And depending on the smart contract, you can sort of you can actually also bring in outside information and have it execute in a certain way. So the easiest way to describe sort of like what a smart contract is through a decentralized exchange. So what a decentralized exchange is it allows you to trade one token for another token without any sort of centralized entity, which means that so the most popular example of this is Uniswap. Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. And so what that means is that you don't have to trust anybody else with custody of your cryptocurrency in order to do a swap with another person for another cryptocurrency. So right now, the primary limitation of Uniswap is that it can only be done between Ethereum-based tokens. And also the other, I guess, primary limitation is that Ethereum has pretty high fees when the network is being used. And so it can cost a lot of money in order to do a single swap on Uniswap or to make any other purchases or mint an NFT or anything else like that. So anything that you want to do with a smart contract, because it's a bidding system, whoever bids the highest basically gets their transaction done. It means that and because the throughput is relatively low, it means that it can sometimes get pretty expensive. But that's the basics of what a smart contract is. Yeah, and you can talk, Jovi, if you want to. Oh, I can't hear you though. I think you're muted.
I was muted. I
Oh,
said I
there we
didn't
go.
have anything to say at the moment.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I was gonna ask you like, so this is gonna be a dumb question, but what would we use smart contracts for in general? Let me comment this.
Okay. Yeah. So if smart contracts were cheaper, then we'd be able to actually use it for a lot of different stuff. For example, you currently get paid like probably bi-weekly. If we were to utilize something like a smart contract, then you'd be able to get paid however you his facts are bad and he should feel bad. Thank you for the vote of confidence, old man Jank. So you would actually be able to get paid weekly or daily if you wanted to. And also there was actually somebody that set up a system where you could get paid hourly using the Bitcoin Lightning Network. So we could do, for example, faster payments. So like you come to an agreement with your employer that, you know, you're going to get paid a certain amount, and then they write that into a smart contract. So it's auditable. And then you start working and they start paying you based off of that contract. So like that's an example of how we'd be able to use smart contracts. So you're about ready to cash out. I mean, you do you. I know that I personally wouldn't cash out right now unless I needed the cash. But that would be an example of how we'd be able to utilize a smart contract.
Okay, so talked about Cardano, talked about Bitcoin. We haven't really gotten into Ethereum.
Okay, so out of Bitcoin essentially came Ethereum, and Ethereum was supposed to be able to expand the functionality of Bitcoin. Bitcoin basically is able to transact value, and it does so decently well. Utilizing the Bitcoin Lightning Network, it does so really well. But if you wanted to execute code on the blockchain, you wouldn't be able to do it. And so that's basically the use case for Ethereum. So Ethereum came in and said, I'm trying. It's just, it's there. So I'm kind of like paying attention to it also. I'm not used to having this like directly in front of me, which is actually kind of nice. But anyways, so it expanded the functionality in order to allow code or arbitrary blocks of code to be executed on the blockchain, which gave rise to smart contracts. And the sort of the upside of this is that you're able to do a lot more with it. But the downside of this is that it requires a lot more throughput. So you have to be able to transact a lot more things, because you have people that are transacting value, because Ethereum can be traded basically the same way that Bitcoin can on the blockchain. But you also have arbitrary blocks of code that also need to be executed. And so basically their blockchain runs a lot faster. They have a lot more blocks going on and a lot more data is moving through. And so like the blockchain is going to get larger. It requires more processing power in order to run a node on the Ethereum blockchain, I believe. I would actually have to double check that one. But you can run a Bitcoin node on like a Raspberry Pi if you wanted to. And so with that expanded functionality comes the sort of like expanded drawback of having to push through, you know, so much more data, more information. So that's why fees can get really expensive. It can get, you know, up to $200 in USD equivalent in order to do things like do a swap. So it's gotten exceptionally expensive, especially for like the average person. So like you wouldn't be able to use smart contracts. And yeah, Cenk, the American stock market is way down.
Yeah, the American stock market's down. Crypto's down too.
Yeah.
Why is crypto a viable investment considering all crypto right now appears to be burning down? I don't think it is.
Yeah, what do you mean by that, Cenk? What does all crypto is burning down?
I think a lot of altcoins are burning down.
I mean, the market is going down
overall. Bitcoin hasn't crossed that like threshold back below like 25K though, right?
No, it hasn't. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the market is extremely volatile, right? It's a brand new asset. It's a completely new asset class, essentially. So it's going to have to take time in order for people to adopt it, and for
The market needs to reconnect, like to restable, to be honest, and like settle back down because it was honestly in a bubble for a while. I believe that like it's honestly just trying to like rebalance itself.
yeah.
It's
So
never gonna sit at the high that it was at. It's gotta like come back and settle, and then it will start to rise again eventually. Like I don't think this lull is gonna be permanent. I think people just got scared, and that's part of the problem. Is you get a lot of people that are like short-minded investors that are jumping into this market, thinking that they're gonna see these huge amounts of gains, and they're not ready to see the valleys before the peak.
yeah, so the stock market isn't luck, though, Jank. That's the thing. If you take any 25-year period on the stock market and say invest in the S&P 500, then you're going to receive approximately 8% return. So the stock market is like a long haul investment that, I mean, of course, past performance does not guarantee future returns, but we've seen over time the stock market do something, and we can be relatively certain that it's going to continue to do that thing, which is continue to grow at approximately 8.5%. So the stock market goes up, the stock market goes down. It's fairly volatile, depending on who you ask, but it's not luck. Time in the market beats timing in the market. And I believe it's like 95. I forget what the percentage is, but most like managed funds don't do well, whereas the whole entire market tends to do well. So if you invest in the market over the long haul, then you potentially will see a decent return.
They use the S&P 500 as a good like reference because it's supposed to be what is considered the 500 best performing companies on the market, and it's the index fund of all of those. So I mean, like they use that as an idea of what what a base could be if you had a very well performing balanced portfolio.
Yeah, and then also exactly.
I mean,
so nothing inside the cryptocurrency market, nothing inside the stock market, nothing in any market is guaranteed. So Bitcoin could go to $100,000 or it could go to zero, right? Like nobody actually knows what it's going to do in the future. All we can do is look at what it did in the past, look at maybe what sort of trends or sort of value is being provided by the cryptocurrency, and then see what that value potentially could be, and then make an estimate based off of that. But a lot of people are speculating. And Old Man Jank, that's partially true. Housing is kind of a sure thing. If the market falls, then you might lose your job. And if you lose your job and you can't afford your mortgage, then you lose your house. And that's actually part of the reason why the housing crisis happened in 2008, as far as I understand it, is that a bunch of people couldn't afford their mortgages, and so they lost their house.
There's an issue with gold, though, back in like the 40s or something like that, too. Like when we swapped the dollar, like was it with like Nixon or some shit like that?
It was Nixon, and I think it was 1935, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dollar went off the gold standard.
Mm-hmm. Because America didn't have as much gold as we thought we had, apparently.
Something like that. Yeah. Keep it in the fridge.
So here's the thing that I do know. Like in terms of an asset class, like in general, Bitcoin will continue to hold value as long as people value it.
Yeah.
Because there is a limited supply of that, which automatically forces supply and demand.
Exactly. So, and also, another thing that I didn't mention is that every single 4 years, the amount of new Bitcoin that gets minted, so every single 10 minutes when the new block gets created, the reward gets halved. So it started off at 50, it dropped down to 25, and then it went down to 12.5, and then I believe it's down to 6.25. So new Bitcoin getting minted is cutting in half every single 4 years. So the amount of supply that's entering the market is decreasing over time.
So here's a question: the next happening that we see occur, are we gonna see it push miners out mining?
So I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen.
Do you think that's just based off of what the value of Bitcoin is at that time frame?
I think so. I mean, one of the things that's been relatively consistent is that Bitcoin has essentially continued to go up since it was created, with massive crashes sort of like in between. But the difficulty of the network adjusts. So if a bunch of people stopped being able to mine, then the difficulty would actually decrease. So it automatically adjusts. So if you have people that can't afford it, then they fall off, and then everybody else who can is left, essentially.
So in essence, the more miners there are, the harder it is to compete.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're all competing against each other.
That makes a lot more sense, actually. So it's easier to get, or potentially easier for the miners to work.
Right.
There's less people buying for it.
No, exactly. And
I
yeah,
actually did not know that existed.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. So Bitcoin follows, like, it's called proof of work. So proof of work is what uses computational power. The other primary consensus algorithm is proof of stake. So basically what proof of stake is that instead of having computational power derived from mining hardware, what they do is you probably are hearing a fan, and there's nothing that I can do about it because it's my AC unit and I'm in Texas. So there's no way I'm turning off my AC unit. So that's not happening. So there is a little bit of a background fan noise, but that's just the AC. Hello, Hottie Bobcat. Welcome to the stream. This isn't what you were watching last time, because you last time saw me playing Beat Saber. But today we're talking about cryptocurrency. I'm going to try and make this a regular thing where we sort of like sit down and talk about crypto. Oh, is there a pod? I didn't know that there was a podcasts. Oh, you last saw me playing City Skylines. Okay, my bad. That was a little bit ago. Right. I was playing that as well. I didn't know that podcasting was a category. Podcast. Talk shows and podcasts. That's a category. Okay, cool. Well, that's done.
If you lose faith in the coin, tomorrow it can drop to zero. I don't see. I mean, like, anything is possible, but I don't necessarily see that just happening. There's a lot of whales that hold chunks of Bitcoin.
Yeah, so I don't see that happening with Bitcoin. But actually a good example of this would be Luna. Luna crashed very, very massively. Last time I looked at it, it was like 59th or 69th, somewhere around there. So yeah, it crashed massively. And that was because of an exploit in the way that they were handling their stablecoin, essentially. But yeah, wiped trillions off the market. People lost, or I don't know, not trillions, billions. The market cap of cryptocurrency is like, oh snap, I have to mod.
You didn't mod your bot?
Well, I made a new account. I made a new bot. My new bot is RoboLlama instead of Stream Elements. No, the market cap.
You better hold on. Pause. I'm sorry to interrupt. We're gonna take a brief podcast intermission here. You better have a picture of a robot llama for him.
I don't have a picture of Robot Llama for him yet.
You failed him. You failed him.
Yeah. So the total market cap of cryptocurrency in total is 1.3 trillion. So there's not trillions to get wiped out.
Yeah, I think that statement is talking about all of these cryptos that have fallen and dropped down.
Oh, no, 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 no. So they're taking the whole entire year into account. Terra Luna happened last week. They don't know what they're like. I'm going to say that they don't know what they're talking about, or they're purposely being misleading.
Technically, it's 5 months.
Basically,
Fine, sir.
yeah. It's 5
Five and a
months.
half months. 5.5 months, which is
But-
almost half the year.
But that's crypto. Like that's what happens in crypto, is that you have like 80%, you'll have 80% drops, and you'll have like 1000% returns. Yeah. So Terra crashing did not drop. Do I have any visuals? Visuals for what? Yeah, 1000%
Talking about
returns.
charts? I got you.
Oh, there we go.
Problem solved.
Invested in Navcoin. Really? Interesting.
Okay, so hold on. Let's get back to topic here. So we talked
Right,
about
right.
Ethereum, and I wanted to talk about NFT. Well, I didn't really. I just wanted you to talk to me about NFTs.
Okay, right. So essentially, what an NFT is, so NFT stands for non-fungible token. And so when you're talking about money, what fungibility is.
Wait. Okay, good. I was about to make a fungus joke.
So I can't tell you what's going to give you an 1000% return. I can tell you that in 2017, Ethereum had an 8,800% return from the start of the year until the end of the year. And Bitcoin had a 1,200% return. Right? So
What?
if you have any questions,
1,000% return? What?
so no, 1,000% returns have happened in the past, right? So
No,
I can tell.
I'm pretty sure that's happened in the
Yeah.
past.
So yeah, no, nobody can tell you the future, old man Jank. If anybody attempts to tell you the future, or tell you what's going to take off or what's going to happen, they're probably trying to scam you. And if that's the case, I have a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. But
You-
what? Yeah,
That's
no,
fair.
exactly. I never said that past performance guarantees any results. And you could have an 80% return just as likely as having, but 1,000% returns have happened in the past. I'm not telling you that you're going to have an 1,000% return, but that's what happens to cryptocurrency. You have 80% drops and 1,000% returns.
This is also not financial advice.
Exactly.
Or investing advice.
Yep. I'm not telling you what to do with your money, only what happened in the past and what I'm doing. So
Please learn on your own and do some research as well. That is
Yes.
kind of why we're here, to do some research. Invest at your own risk.
and consult your financial advisor.
Exactly. That's good. Good for you. Okay, so back to non-fungus tokens.
Yes. So, so what a non-fungible token is it's a token that's unique from other tokens. So, if I give
What
you a
makes it
dollar,
unique?
so I'll explain that here in a sec. So if I give you a
Okay.
dollar, and then Nick gives you a dollar, and then you take those dollars and you put them in, I don't know, your sock drawer, and then you pull out those $2 later, you probably won't be able to tell which dollar was the one that I gave you and which one was the one that Nick gave you, because both the dollars are essentially the same. And you can go to the store and you can spend them just the same, right?
I might be able to tell by cent.
Okay.
But you're right. Okay.
But yeah, like non-mushroom tokens, good mushroom tokens, GMTs, beautiful. Okay, so you can spend both of those dollars just the same at any grocery store, like $1 versus the other dollar. So that's called fungibility. It basically means that the $1 is not really unique from the other dollar. So what a non-fungible token is it's a token that's unique from another token. I'll try not to jank. And so what this
Wait,
could
did they
mean.
do this with Pogs? You're too young for Pogs. I think I just gave my age.
I don't know. Yeah, you guys just keep on chatting. So essentially, like, if I have two baseball cards, then each baseball card is probably like going to be different from every other one. You have baseball cards of like rookie players, you have baseball cards of professional players, of top players, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So those are unique from each other. If you go to a collector and or like a stamp, like there were people that collected stamps as well, like stamps you'd put on your mail. But you go to like a collector,
Pokemon cards?
Or like Pokemon cards, right? Or Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic the Gathering. You take those to a dealer, you might get a different value for each of those baseball cards, and so that's because they're fungible. They're different from each other. So the most sort of prominent use of non-fungible tokens that has existed has been essentially what would be considered a reference point towards digital artwork. So essentially you have digital artwork. That digital artwork is hosted somewhere. Your NFT points to that digital artwork, and then it's a representative of basically like pointing at that thing. Essentially, it doesn't really sound like it's a lot, but you have
it's an identifier to prove it's one of one, or it's one of whatever many copies.
Kind of, yeah. It's a little bit murky. Like the isn't exact. It's a receipt, exactly. Yeah, Old Man Jenks got it. It's basically a receipt, and you can also track ownership of the receipt by sort of the sales of the NFT. So you can tell
which there's always a log on that, on the ledger for that.
And exactly. And so you can tell who the original owner of the thing, of that NFT was.
Like who minted it?
Who minted it, essentially. It's going to be associated with a wallet address. Now, that doesn't mean that nobody else has an NFT that also references that object. It just means that you have essentially a receipt chain for that NFT.
So I have two questions.
Yes.
Okay, first, who's your baseball card dealer?
I don't have a baseball card dealer. I do have a bunch of baseball cards, but like I actually don't know what they're worth or anything. I haven't gone through them in years.
No dealer?
No baseball card dealer.
Baseball card plug.
I apparently, yeah. I mean, my baseball cards might actually be valuable. I'll have to figure out at some point in the future if they are.
And then I use the term mint. Please explain that to me.
Okay. So, you want to buy my cards? I don't even know if I can find them because they're not here. They're somewhere else.
Howdy, he's gonna be selling his cards at onlycards.com.
Yeah.
Go there where you can find only cards.
The world's
and non-fungus tokens.
Nose model? The pink one on the desk behind me? Hold on.
Are you getting distracted mid?
Are you talking about this? This is a Buddha. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's a Buddha.
I can't. It literally just looks like a white piece. Okay, now the camera's starting to semi-focus.
There, let me do that. Block the light a little bit. Yeah, it's just a Buddha.
Are you a Buddhist? Okay, they want to know. Are you a Buddhist, Lama?
No, I'm not a Buddhist, but my grandpa loves Buddha, and so I got that from my grandpa. Among
your
other
grandpa
Buddha.
rub his belly?
I actually don't know if he rubs Buddha's belly.
I heard it's good luck.
It's wider than I am. Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's possible to be wider than me, but not much. Definitely not much. It does kind of look like a nose. I mean, I knew exactly what you were talking about as soon as you said that. Okay, so what minting an NFT is basically creating the NFT. So when you mint an NFT, it gets created. That's basically
How does
it.
that? So how do people set one up? Do you know the basics of like creating an NFT? Per chance?
I wouldn't be able to walk you through the process of creating an NFT, but I'm pretty sure that there's services out there for doing that, where you take like digital artwork and mint an NFT with it. And there have been a number of people that have done that. I think even Photoshop was allowing people to mint NFTs off of their artwork. You choose some mints while typing NFT code. Yeah, that's what minting an NFT is. If you sprinkle the mint dust on your computer, it also helps mint it as well.
But NFTs don't have to be just images.
Right, they don't have to just be images. It can be basically any unique block of code, essentially. Like bring up the app and whatnot. Do visuals next time. I don't know what visuals. So you'll mint me. Thank you. So part of the problem with like doing visuals with this would be that our conversation is definitely going to be free flowing. And so we won't be able to like prepare a bunch of stuff unless I can find me like a Jamie in order to be able to pull things up for me. But I don't know. Even Joe Rogan doesn't really pull up too much stuff though. So I mean, he pulls up stuff all the time, but I mean, it doesn't show on the stream. So yeah. But we'll try. I'll try and maybe have something so I can move the cameras over and then have something else over on the like this side of the screen, I think.
Or like a screen cap?
Yeah, like have a screen cap going on the left-hand side.
That would work.
Okay.
So give me, while we're on this topic here,
yeah.
give me some uses on NFT. Is it just based off of collectibles so far?
Okay, so and yeah, Stacy's gonna be like a Q&A between us, and also hopefully have some chat interaction. So I'm not super sure of like all of the use cases of an NFT, because I almost feel like they're not super necessary in a lot of ways, without a lot of overhaul. So like one example of a use case for NFTs would be like tickets to a football game, for example. So if you were to digitally receive, or like an amusement park, exactly, where you could digitally, or a movie theater, like anywhere that you have to pay for admission to somewhere. And so if you, like, for example, were to get an NFT of that ticket, then, you're getting a lot of stream lag. I'm not showing a lot of frame drops.
I'm not noticing anything.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. That's good. So you'd be able to take that ticket and maybe have it on your phone or something and scan it at the kiosk in order to get in. And so you can manage like digital tickets that way.
Like that,
we do have systems like that. Yes.
Are they functioning using NFTs in essence?
Kind of. I mean, it kind of depends. The primary difference would be immutable. So like you could think of it more as like a collection item as well afterwards. So you could get an NFT, and then you could have a collectible item that says, like, you know, you were there at the game, even if you only had a digital ticket, for example. But a sort of like standardization of this whole entire process, and also utilization of these systems in the future, could be more efficient than already existing systems. So it might be cheaper and easier eventually to use blockchain for this instead of utilizing some other third-party service for that. So like whatever service you use, or if you host it yourself, it can get pretty expensive. But if you're able to mint all of the NFTs relatively inexpensively and distribute them using already existing frameworks, then it might just be a lot easier and cheaper. But we're not really going to see a wide use case for NFTs until that basically happens.
So a lot of things that happen with NFTs that I know are termed utility. What are those?
It's like utility NFTs?
Or just utilities to an NFT, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that would be like what I was describing with like entrance into park or movie or that kind of thing. Or also there's a series that did some fundraising using NFTs called CryptoKitties, and they were able to raise I believe it was $85 million for funding their show through selling NFTs of the characters from the show. And the NFT is also your access pass to watch the show, like to stream the show. So you can use the NFT to stream the show when it does get released. I haven't been keeping up with it. So that would be an example of like an NFT that you can use. But I don't see too much of a use case for NFTs, really. Like not a ton of it.
Do you think they're worth money? Do you think
potentially
this is a phase in Web3?
I mean, so I think that they could potentially be worth money, but that value is completely arbitrary. It's just like a piece of artwork, essentially. Like, is a piece of artwork valuable? It can be, for sure. Most artists, I don't think...
Some is extremely valuable.
Yeah, so some of it is extremely valuable.
Art is some of the most valuable stuff on the planet.
Yeah, but that's sort of like the only thing I can see for it being really valuable is if like you have an NFT that was minted by like an original artist that made a amazing piece of artwork or something, then you would have that, that would be the case for it, essentially.
Wouldn't these utilities add to the value? Or help it
potentially
maintain its valuable?
Potentially. It depends on what the use case is. I mean, it's just like, why is any other piece of artwork valuable? I mean, it's relatively arbitrary. As long as people assign value to it, then it's going to have value, right? But there's not really a ton of utility in it. And yeah, also Cenk is right. You don't own the artwork, not strictly legally. There's still some like legal debate, from what I understand, going on related to that, but you don't own the artwork. You basically own a reference to the artwork. And so having that receipt is as valuable basically as you want it to be. But like, you don't necessarily own anything because you own an NFT.
So then the better question, that kind of brings me to this next point then, right? Because humans in general, we collect things. I definitely know Americans do. There's tons of things people collect: cards, knickknacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are NFTs here to stay?
I don't know. I can't say.
Because
it depends.
The difference is most of those items are physical items we own.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were a huge thing. Bunch of people were buying a bunch of them because they thought that they were going to be valuable. And like, I haven't seen a Beanie Baby since I was a kid.
They are very valuable still. People still collect them.
So, yeah, the answer is it depends. I cannot guarantee anything is going to be valuable or not valuable. So Yeah, it's just like, why does the Bored Ape Yacht Club, why is it valuable? And I honestly don't know, but it was one of the most successful NFT projects out there for some reason.
Yeah, they launched a bunch of shit. Still going, right?
I
Did
think
they
so.
just recently drop something?
Hello, Captain Caveman. Yeah,
Cool.
I tend to lean more towards Old Man Jank on this one. NFTs in their current state are not really super valuable or useful. I think that things like Bitcoin are a lot more useful, especially Bitcoin over the Lightning Network is extremely useful.
I mean, but that's fair. But one has the actual utility, and one is more intended to be a collection piece, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's essentially like a collection piece. There's some people that are trying
So
to do
wouldn't
something with it, but
wouldn't the value potentially raise on particular projects the longer the game goes for it? So assuming the longer NFTs are in existence, potentially the more valuable even the earlier projects that were in there could be.
so it just depends. Like it really just depends. And no, Old Man Jank, that's not the case. Crypto does have utility. It's cheaper and faster for me to transact value over the Bitcoin Lightning Network than it is to use Visa. So yeah, that's not the case. Crypto does have utility, especially to transact value. That's probably the easiest case for it.
People right now are using it to hold value in their money because inflation is crazy. And to hold their money off of the grid from government to a degree, or to transfer it between countries easily, or between individuals.
Also, to get to your other point, can you use it to pay for a Dell laptop? You can in El Salvador. You can actually use it to buy anything in El Salvador. El Salvador is not going to default. They can transact. And I mean, there's a bunch of different services that are allowing people to utilize cryptocurrency on the back end. Let me see here. There was an example of this.
Jank, the same argument though could be made for gold in most cases. I can't take gold to Walmart and buy fucking milk with it. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. Like, and we still see value in gold. Actually, if you wanted to sell high amounts of gold, you'd probably need a direct buyer and some shit. Like high valued blocks of gold is not easy to buy or sell. Easier to do it in crypto.
Oh, what was it called? Was Strike using Lightning Network? Yeah, Strike is using the Lightning Network in more than 200 countries. Well, wait, hold on. Why does gold have inherent value?
Because we put value to it.
Yeah, because we put value to it. 90% of the demand for gold is entirely because of people using it as an investment. Only about 10% of it is actually used for its conductive properties. So most of it is basically just because people think that it has a value. Yeah, but so if you take gold and compare it to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is better in basically every single aspect. Bitcoin is more divisible because you can separate it out to 0.8 decimal places. And also you can transact it more cheaply than you can gold. And also you don't have to carry it. So you can take a hardware wallet or you can memorize a seed phrase and then you can travel globally. You don't need divisibility. Says who? I'm sorry. When was the last time you made a gold transaction, Jank?
Yeah. Ironically that we're having this conversation, I follow Robert Kiyosaki and he compares Bitcoin to gold. And I'm pretty sure I trust Robert Kiyosaki's advice.
Yeah, but so Jank, though, you're switching your argument here, though. You don't need divisibility, but then you're talking about divisibility when it comes to cash, but you're not addressing the primary thing, which is Bitcoin is better money than gold in every single aspect that matters. And nobody uses gold anymore. Almost nobody. More places take Bitcoin than take gold.
That's 100% true.
No, you're saying that gold is a store of value, essentially. And I'm saying that that Bitcoin is a better. Oh, so what are you saying then?
I think he's disagreeing with it. I said that I made the comparison that Bitcoin and gold were very similar.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense,
in terms of holding value. Perfect. I hate to be this guy, Llama, but I think right now might be a good point to end the conversation. I think we should pick up potentially the next time and actually talk about how people can start getting into crypto.
Yeah,
I think a beginner's guide would be nice.
That would probably be a good idea. If you want to see more information about cryptocurrency, check out my YouTube channel. I actually go into a comparison between a credit card processor or multiple credit card processors and the Bitcoin Lightning Network, and why I think that the Bitcoin Lightning Network is better. So if you're interested in that, check out that video there. I have a YouTube channel. I upload videos. And also check out Don Jovi. He streams on Twitch. He is me and him are going to be streaming tomorrow in a cooperative stream. We're probably going to be playing Unsafe. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to be playing Unsafe. And then I'm going to be back on Thursday for my stream with Old Man Jank if he's around. Yeah, next week we'll do more education. We'll talk about it more. I'm going to try and see if I can answer some of your guys' questions and stuff. And there's you're always around? Okay, perfect. You need to lose weight. Okay, I was gonna make a round joke, but then I figured that would be too mean. So I didn't want to do that. Like, you're always round. Like, but yeah, you made the joke for me. So, and then on Friday, I'm hopefully, if my VR headset decides to work. Oh, and also I've got llama merch. So check that out as well. We've got water bottles, t-shirts, that kind of thing. On Friday, if my headset decides that it's going to keep on working, then I'm going to be playing some Beat Saber. So that'll be fun. And then Don Jovi is going to be streaming on Saturday, and you're going to be playing what? Rogue Legacy 2?
Rogue Legacy 2.
Rogue Legacy 2.
Yes.
And then
continuing Don's legacy.
Or is this just fantasy? I got you, Jank. And then on Sunday, Don Jovi is gonna be playing Gloomhaven, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
3 of my close friends.
Awesome.
No offense to Llama, he's a close friend too. I made some notes, guys. I'll make sure we have a better topic next time as well. We'll be given a little bit of some beginner information. I'll ask him questions.
I love that, Jank. Caught in a crypto slide, no escape from NFT. Oh man, brilliant. All right, well, with that, I think that we are just going to call it here. Let me look at something here really quick. I don't see anybody online. Is there anybody online right now?
Yeah, that guy that I rated last time is on.
Oh God, what was this? It was like Fur something.
Fuerutar.
There we go. All right, I'm going to be doing a raid here in a second, so if you want to stick around, what is he playing? He's playing D&D.
He's actually streaming a D&D playthrough that he DM for.
Let's do it. Let's get him over there. Let me go into the creator dashboard. I should raid Code Miko. Oh my god. Should I raid Code Miko?
I don't know who Code Miko is.
Hold on, what is she doing right now? She's still covering the Johnny Depp trial. Alright, I'll do it. Why not? Why not? How many viewers do I have right now? I have 5. I have 5 viewers. She loves it? Okay, well,
I don't
we're gonna
trust
rate her.
this at all. Okay.
We're doing it. This is, Code Miko. Oh, Jesus. Five viewers. Let's do it. Let's go raid Code Miko. Here we go. Oh boy, this is scary. I'm scared.
For what?
She's massive.
Crazy!
She's a huge streamer. All right, here we go. I love everybody. Peace. Adios.